this arrow button to go to pick 2 state. Because picture 2 is essentially over here, but when it shows up, it's going to end up in the middle, right? Because that's where picture 2 ends up. Right? So kind of how it's going to work is we have picture 2 here on our default state waiting to show up. And when we tell this button to go to picture 2 state, XD is going to take the one that's transparent here and animate it so that it's not transparent, and also at the same time shift it to the middle where it's actually going to sit. So it's called auto animate. It will look at default state where picture 2 is and look where picture 2 is on pick 2 state and combine it and say, oh, on default state you're over here, but the arrow says you want to go to this state, so I'm going to animate it for you. Okay? It's kind of how auto animate works. It's going to take whatever state it's in and transfer it to the other state. Okay, that's why we're going to get that sliding effect. Okay, on default state, pick 2 is over here. On pick 2 state, it's here. So XD is going to do the work for us. It's going to make it work. It's going to slide it in. We just got to tell it to do that. Okay. So I'm going to go back to default. Okay, back to default. And I double clicked my component in the layers, or again, you click off, click on by double clicking, and select that arrow right. Making sure I'm on my default state. Go to prototype. Okay? Prototype is our interactions, right? Remember we had to wire in something last week, I can't remember, manually do it. Okay? So we're manually going to have to wire in how this is going to interact, okay, with this button. So with my arrow selected, my right arrow, I need to create a interaction of tap. So let's hit the plus sign. Okay. The type of action is important here because right now transition won't create this effect of sliding for us. Transition would be used for, you know, when you go on a website, you hit the menu button and it takes you to a brand new page and nothing really happens. You just go there. Okay? That's what transition would be used for. We want to select the type to not be transition, but to be auto animate. And that's the animation feature of XD, to get states to interact with other states. Okay? So essentially, move picture 2 into the screen. Okay? So we'll select auto animate. Yeah, auto animate. And the destination is the state of pick 2. Okay? So it's going to slide everything over. And it's going to say, I'm going to say ease out of 0.8. And that's just how quickly we want it to slide over. You know, do we want a gentle slide or a fast slide or whatever? So 0.3 is kind of quick. I'm going to say 0.8. You could use 1, I don't care. We created our first interaction between our states. But the other side of it is we need to wire up this button. Because if we hit it, we want everything to slide this way. Okay? So if this one's going to 2, this button should go to 3. So select your button, create on tap, and auto animate that goes to picture 3. And by default, once you set like auto animate of easing out and a duration, it generally keeps it. Okay. Press play. 2 slides in. But now we're trapped, right? Because we haven't wired up picture 2's new state. Okay, so if I click out of that and then press play again, use my left arrow, 3 slides in. Are we getting that? Do we get it? Okay, so right now, if we I know it's kind of confusing, but right now, these buttons aren't working because we're on pick 3 state. And we haven't wired the buttons in yet. We've only done the wiring on the default state. Yeah? So we have 2 more states to wire up. All right? We can close this down. So I'm going to click off. I'm going to go back to my design state, my design menu, sorry. Get out of prototype, go back to design, select your component, and then go to your pick 2 state so that we can set up those buttons. Okay. Select your pick 2 state, go back to prototype. Okay, you'll have to double click to get inside. Select arrow to the right. Create the interaction, so a trigger. Plus, untap, auto animate. Go from state 2 to state 3 for pick 3. Select your left arrow. Create an interaction, on tap, auto animate, choose your destination, go to default. Okay. Click off, back to design, click on, go to pick 3 state. I know it's a lot of clicking off and on and around and so forth. Okay, pick 3, state selected. Go back to prototype. Double click. Select your right arrow. Create an interaction, up tap, auto animate, go to default state. So pick 3 state to default state with the right arrow. Select the left arrow. Create a tap trigger, auto animate. Go to pick get to the different states through the prototype. Go to default state, press play. See if they all cycle through. So you got infinite loop. Did it work? Was it kind of cool? I know. But it's something that is actually useful, right? So, like, I know you're not there. I presume you're not there yet with code to create this kind of a carousel. But in JavaScript, you could do that, right? Cycle through your images. Okay. Everybody get it to work. All right. Okay. Maybe we'll do this. So you create the carousel, right, for your client, and you want to show them. Okay. How do you do that? We certainly won't want to give them your XD file because they will have no idea how to use it. Okay. Generally speaking, your clients are business people. They're not like you and I. I'm not saying that they can't come from a design background or a coding background, but generally speaking, it's somebody that doesn't do this stuff. So, but they know how to use the internet. We need to share what we just did with them. Okay? And the share comes from, well, the share button inside the prototype. Okay, so if I hit share, first, access-wise, I think by default, anyone with this link is selected for you. Okay. You can only invite certain people. You could put a password on this as well. Generally speaking, when I do this, I just use anyone with a link. Okay. And then what I do is copy the link and email it to my client. Okay. So I'll use that, and then view settings. Okay, you have a few different options here. Design, review. Essentially, it's just what it says. Get feedback on your design or your prototype. Okay, so if I send it to a client, they can put notes in it for me. So they don't have to write it all in an email. Okay? So I can see, directly what they don't like or what they do like. Well, generally speaking, they tell you what they don't like. Okay? You can share it with developers. I've never used that option. Presentation. You know that link that I put in the course booklet that I showed you of the prototype that you have to do for me for homework? That's what I use. Presentation. So it's like a full screen and then you interact with it. User testing and custom. Okay. So I, generally speaking, will go here and here, use these two. Okay. And say we use design view. The link is the name of the file. And once you have this set up, you just hit create link. Creates the link eventually. You can share it on Behance. Here's the option to copy the link. So copy the link, and when you're done your homework, and when you're done your midterm, and when you're done your final integrated project prototypes, just copy this link and put it in the comments for me. Okay, that's it. That's how you share. That's how you share and care. Okay, cool? Is that easy? Right? The other side of it is up here. So up here, you can create new links. So it puts it up to your Adobe Cloud. Okay? And you can manage those links. So I have some prototypes actually in there. So if I go manage links, you'll go to your Adobe Cloud account. And that's where everything lives. Okay? So I'm redoing our company's website, and Lord knows how many versions I got going on. I think this is the latest one, version 8. Okay? Designed it, all in XD, prototyped it, all in XD, and then I can go see it. So I'll click on it. It'll take a while to load because there's video in it. Eventually it'll play. There we go. Okay. Real life prototype. Working. It's real. What I'm teaching you, we use. Okay? Don't take pictures because nobody's seen this yet. Okay? But you create an interaction. Okay. So that's real life prototyping. And it's all housed in this manage your links. That's where it lives. Okay. So if you do a prototype like this and you get feedback, okay, and then you update it, you can change the link name or keep it the same and it'll override the one that's up in the cloud for you. Okay? Or you can do version control like I have on our website, version 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8. Probably by tomorrow it'll be 9 or 10. Okay? Makes sense? Sharing, easy? Yes? All right, let's call her a night. Call her done. Next week, we're gonna do some tidy up work when it comes to prototyping. So that file that I had you download, we're gonna work on it. We'll create some overlay and we'll work on your homework. So that desktop prototype. Cool? All right, that's it, that's all.
Just the